of the most recognizable skylines in the world. Poets, writers, songsters have attempted to capture its magical lure, the hustle, the bustle, the excitement of New York City. It remains the world's melting pot, a mecca for the celebrated and the would-be celebrated. They say the city has seen it all, and that's kind of hard to question. In just the past 2 weeks, the Big Apple has played host to Pope John Paul II, millions pouring out their affection, and in the past few days, Fidel Castro was also here. And tonight, live from Shea Stadium in Flushing Meadows, Queens, ABC's Monday Night Football originates for the first time. The young Jets of New York, kids, if you will, meeting many of the heroes they worshiped as schoolboys. It'll be the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Jets coming up live from New York.
20 seconds to stand by, all cameras.
Ready.
Stand by in videotapes.
Ready.
Stand by slow-mo.
Ready.
Stand by to open your mics on the field.
Ready.
Stand by in graphics. Ready with your opening super. Stand by the announcers in the booth, please. And roll tape. 3, 2, 1. Take tape.
From Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York, ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings against the New York Jets. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Buick, where you find very fine cars and very good thinking in everything from Riviera and the midsize Century and Regal to the amazing front-wheel drive Skylark. And by Lanier Business Products, creators of the No Problem electronic typewriter, the typewriter that does more than just type. Hello again, everyone, and there is an excitement in Shea Stadium tonight. It'll be the New York Jets, a very young New York Jets, against a veteran Minnesota Viking team, a Minnesota Viking team that is still looking for a possible 7th consecutive National Football Conference Central Division title. Remember, Tampa Bay has lost in the last 2 weeks, and Minnesota has crept close again. If they can win tonight, they'll only be 1 game away. So we're looking for a lot of excitement. This young Jet team, they are exciting. They lead the entire National Football League in rushing with over 190 yards per game. They have 4.5 average with their running backs. Well, they really are something to watch, and they have a young man named Wesley Walker. But, Don, I believe it has to be the running game Minnesota will be concerned with.
Oh, I think so, Frank. When you look at things like Flash Cutback, Tyrone Peacock, and T.D. Long Gone, you'll realize that these names are almost as familiar as the men have accepted them as nicknames. I'm talking about Scott Durking, Claude Gaines, and Kevin Long. You'll see Clark Gaines here. Probably will not be a starter tonight, but that doesn't mean he can't run. It looks as Kevin Long is going to get the move, and here's Kevin Long. As Frank mentioned, these guys are the leading rushing team in the National Football League, but not without a good pass. Rather glamorous star of Alabama, Richard Todd, who has Wesley Walker, one of the really great deep threats in football today. Now, you don't have the kind of running team that the Jets have without a couple of good old big uns or big old good uns, and they did that. They went to Ohio State, and they got Chris Ward. They went out to USC, and they got Marvin Powell, and they're the bookends at tackle. They make a lot of moves up in there. One of the things that's caused them a lot of problems is they are a young team, and I'm interested to find out what old Francis has to say about the 4 rookies that are going to start on the Jets' defensive team tonight. What do you think about that one, Francis?
Well, Dandy, you know, the Vikings were once known as the Purple People Eaters because of their dominating defense, led by Alan Page, now in Chicago, Carl Eller, now in Seattle, and Jim Marshall, who's now 41 years old. But now the offense that Minnesota has taken over, and for the past few years, the big man in that offense has been number 44, Chuck Foreman. Whenever I needed a big running play, I handed the ball to Foreman, and he twisted and he turned like nobody I've ever seen. Truly a great runner. Whenever I needed a hard short yardage, scoring a touchdown near the goal line, I gave it to Foreman because of efforts like this as he went across the goal line. When I needed a big pass, I again would throw to number 44, Chuck Foreman. Watch his leaping ability here against D.D. Lewis of the Dallas Cowboys. He makes the catch for yet another touchdown by Foreman. But now the problem is number 9, Tommy Kramer, but he's got some weapons to throw to. That's Ahmad Rashad, number 28, possibly the best outside receiver in the National Football League now. It's going to be a lot of offense tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun watching it all go. Okay, Frank.
All right, Francis, Don, as you can see, it's a sold-out crowd for the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Jets, and we'll be back with the kickoff right after this.
You don't move mountains, you go through them. And all it takes to carve a tunnel out of a mile of hard rock is steel and sweat and dynamite. Now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best-tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Miller Beer.
Harvey Firestone once used a fleet of taxi cabs to prove his tire. Cabs rolled up a lot of miles every day, and Harvey thought that was a good way to judge a tire. Well, that hasn't changed very much. How it works on the road is still a pretty good way to judge a tire. And right now, American drivers are rolling up over 160 million miles every day on Firestone's 721 radio. Now, Harvey would say that ought to tell you something about the 721.
You know, it's really gratifying to see so many guys today enjoying tobacco without lighting up. Just like me, they've gone smokeless. Now, I'm kind of partial to Skoal with the wintergreen flavor. Or for straight tobacco taste, try Copenhagen. Or mild Happy Day.
Great if you're just starting out.
There you go. But whichever, just a pinch between your cheek and gum is all it takes. And I'm mighty proud to say that Copenhagen, Skoal, and Happy Days are official sponsors of the 1980 Winter Olympics.
A capacity crowd at Shea Stadium. The New York Jets 2-4 in the Eastern Division of their AFC. Miami and New England tied for the lead there with 5-2. The Minnesota Vikings 3-3. Tampa Bay has a 5-2 record in the NFC Central Division, but Minnesota with a win tonight could get right back into the race. The Jets, as we look at their receiving unit, they have won the toss. Bruce Harper, 42. Ken Troy, number 48, deep, while Rick Danmeyer will kick off. The Jets are a yo-yo team. They have been up and down. They're very young. They play like a young team. They lost 56-3 to Buffalo, came back a couple of weeks later and knocked off Miami. Set to go. Danmeyer hits it short. And it's taken at the 22-yard line. And out over the 30 to the 35-yard line. The Jets with the football, and they'll have good field position. It was Clark Gaines who was the up man. A bad kick by Danmeyer. And the Jets will have good field position. Richard Todd opens the quarterback. Clark Gaines, Scott Durking, Kevin Long, they will alternate during the night. We see Kevin Long in there, 33, with Scott Durking, number 25. Derek Gaffney, wide receiver, number 81. And Wesley Walker, number 85, and he can really motor. He's a threat anytime Todd puts the football in the air. On first down, getting the call is Kevin Long. Trying to get outside, he cannot do so, as he is dropped for about a 3-yard loss. Hustling over there was James White, the defensive right tackle for the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings with the front four of James White, Doug Sutherland at tackles. The ends are Mark Mulaney, number 77, and Jim Marshall at a right end, number 70. Is just starting his 273rd consecutive game. Those are the linebackers. In the middle, Jeff Seaman. And the cornerbacks, of course, John Turner and Bobby Bryant. Second down, 13. The motion man is Scott Durkee. Getting the call is Kevin Long over the right side. Behind Don Alexander and Marvin Powell goes Kevin Long. Gets to the 30-yard line. It will be third down and 11. Hit there by Fred McNeil, number 54, one of the Minnesota Viking linebackers. They're a good linebacking crew. And there's Tommy Kramer. And Francis, I'll ask you right now. Do you miss it down there?
I really don't miss it down there at all. And Tommy Kramer's done a good job this year. It's his third year. He's not a rookie quarterback. He's been around. He's seen how things are done, and he's doing a good job and growing every week.
Bruce Harper comes in, number 42 for the Jets. Good receiver, as is Clark Gaines, number 21. Third down and 11. The ball just over the 30-yard line. Todd fires over the middle and is complete out over the 40-yard line. It'll be short of the first down, however.
Tough mistake to make, Frank. We've talked about it so many times. You're going to catch that third down play, try to pick up the first.
That was Jerome Barkham.
You know, the interesting thing about the first series there, here's the leading rushing team in the National Football League, as you pointed out, Frank. The Minnesota Vikings are 11th against the rush in the NFC, and they didn't They came up 3rd and 11 that time. They lost 1 yard in 2 plays.
Losing that 3 yards on a first down hurts the running team. We're looking at Chuck Ramsey. Kicks the ball high. 40.3 yard average. Deep for the Jets is Jimmy Edwards.
Oh, that's nice.
Edwards waits, has the time from his 15-yard line. And that's it. Oh, fight over the football. Edwards coughed it up. And the Jets are saying they have it.
Oh, boy.
43-yard punt. Jimmy Edwards gave up the football at the 17-yard line. The Jets get the first break of the night. They're still on piling. And on the bottom of the pile, Tim Moresco. The ball at the 18-yard line. Kevin Long comes back in. Number 33, 1 setback. Scott Durkin comes in, number 25. The Jets have 6 backs, all over 100 yards in rushing. Their leading rusher, Clark Gaines, with over 320 yards. 1st and 10. Todd, and he hands off to Kevin Long. Kevin Long over the left side. Gets 3, 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6. The ball close to the 13-yard line. They'll mark it at the 14-yard line. Jeff Seaman and Duck Sutherland in there defensively for the Vikings.
The backs that you mentioned, Frank, they used 6 of them, and 4 of them were free agents. There's your buddy Harry Peter.
There he is.
Over there. But they've only had 1 fumble among all 6 of them all year. Real key, I think, to their running success.
On 2nd down and 6. And Kevin Long with a big hold down to the 5-yard line. Joe Fields, Don Alexander, and Randy Rasmussen ripping the Minnesota line. And the Jets have a 1st and goal at the 6-yard line. Fred McNeil saved a possible touchdown by Kevin Long, a 6'1", 214-pounder in his 3rd year.
Interesting thing here, Frank. The New York Jets are putting in the big boys in the goal line offense on the 6-yard line. Most of the time, the team will wait till they get inside the 5-yard line to put in the big 2 tight ends. The Vikings are counteracting by putting in their goal line defense. Unusual move on the 6-yard line.
Mickey Schuler, 82, the other tight end, along with Jerome Barker, number 83. Tom Newton is in there, 44. Scott Durkin, 25, and this is Durkin. Durkin upended as he tries to cut back against the grain. Gets to the 5, that'll be it. 2nd down and goal from the 5.
Flash cutback off the right side. There he is, Scott Durkin.
He's a 3rd-year man out of Purdue. This year he has 317 yards, averaging 4.3 yards per carry, a little under the Jets' overall average per back per carry. They're not big names nationally, but they have earned a lot of respect around the league and a great deal of respect from the city of New York. 2nd and goal, the ball just over the 5-yard line. This is Tom Newton, and Newton finds the going tough as he gets close to the 3-yard line. It'll be 3rd and goal. Somewhere you must suspect that even they are a running team, that they're going to have to put it up when you're down this close.
I think if they want to have a chance to score from this position, they're going to have to put it up. The Vikings have 6 down linemen. Very tough to run against it there. 3 yards, 3.5 yards is a tough thing to do down there. They've got to throw the ball here, I think, with Todd rolling out one way or the other.
All right, you're looking at Tom Newton. Now Richard Todd. Todd rolling out. He may be able to get it in. He does. Touchdown. Richard Todd bootlegging around the left side. The Jets are on the scoreboard. Big, strong youngster, friend.
Yeah, he had a pass run option, and of course, you know, when he played at Alabama, and here's Richard Todd here. Danny, take it.
Well, there was a little play action pass in the middle. It stopped him up. You see Marshall still up there, number 70, looking for that run. He had a guard out in front of him, and I think you're right. He did have an option to throw on the outside. I love that play down on the goal line. We'll take another look at it. Fran, what do you see?
It really is. You know,